There's not many words to sum up that refereeing performance against Hull. Not that there are too many polite ones we can use on here. Anyway, welcome back to Where Lions Walk. Hope you're doing well. Sam says, sloppy performances aside, but that has got to be one of the worst refereeing performances I've seen here in a while. How you all doing? We've got Mike here who hasn't definitely not got Gavin Ward on his Christmas card list this year. Coming up this week, we're also talking about penalty takers. Who's the best ever Millwall penalty taker you've ever seen? We'll get into that debate a little bit later on. Plus, we're talking about our FA Cup draw. We mentioned it last week in terms of Burnley. We've had the television schedules. What do we make of it all? And we're doing 2 letters this week in our A to Z. We're up to the letter I and J because I is a little bit tricky. So, Mike, we'll get into the football side of it in a minute because, of course, it wasn't a great performance, was it, from Millwall by all accounts? But just how bad was Gavin Ward?
Yeah, he's shocking. He's shocking. I think we've had some really poor refereeing decisions against us the last sort of few weeks. I think even if you go back sort of 5 or 6 games, there's been moments in games where you go like, the other teams could have had borderline red cards. There was the challenge on Mazu Zaku against Oxford, which on another day, and there's been a couple of incidents in between where it feels like they're getting off lightly, the other teams, and then I think Saturday was I think Hull fans will be content. Obviously, everything went their way that pretty much could have. I think if you was a neutral, I think you would sort of start to see the pattern starting to evolve. Maybe not quite as obvious as I think we realise it, because I think there's a lot of these decisions. We got the decision obviously with Bristol City with the away with the offside goal, but Gavin Ward was up there. I think he pretty much didn't have control of the game. I think he's never been good down the den anyway. Every time we've had him, we never get anything go our way. And there was a couple of key moments. Miller should have been sent off easily. Should have been sent off. That baffles me. But he picked up a yellow card about a minute before, and then the whistle went, and about 2.5 seconds later, he volleyed the ball sort of away into the stands, and Gavin Ward sort of like put his hands up with the whistle as if like, oh, maybe you didn't hear it. But even like he was on his own on that left wing side, and there wasn't a player there that he could have passed it to, or he wasn't going to knock it on and run, or just kick out for a throw to box us in type situation. That was truly baffling. I think that was kind of the big look. To be honest, I don't think we were playing amazing up until that point anyway. We had a great first 3 or 4 minutes where, apart from some great goalkeeping, we could have been 1 or 2 up within 2 or 3 minutes, and then got caught on the counter twice. And then I'm not saying that if he would have got sent off, I'm not saying that he would have. We would have made the comeback of all comebacks. We're still too injury prone, but I definitely think that it would have changed the course of the final sort of third of the match or so when that happens. I don't think Aziz gets sent off. I think that was a bunch of just sort of frustration. We're not getting any free kicks. I think it was a red card from looking at it again. I think it's just one of those careless ones. You give a ref a decision, and I don't think it's going to get turned over or worth appealing. But then I can understand his frustration where, we're backs to the wall at the minute, and, you just need those sort of decisions to go your way. I think that you should start. If it was up to me, and I don't like seeing it when people moan at referees consistently, but I do think the club need to have some sort of reach out to the officials and get the performances like analysed by someone neutral. But then they'll probably stick up for one another anyway. But
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, this um, that's from Tom on social media. It says the refs ain't even hiding it anymore. No central midfielder against 10 men was always going to be tough, but 4th of December, bite your hand off for that start to the season. Yeah, there are some, Mike, that are saying that, well, here we are, no one wants Millwall going up. It's PGMLL against us. The Premier League doesn't want us there. That kind of thing. And the more these events happen, the more truth there potentially, could be to that. But you don't buy into conspiracy theories, do you?
Not necessarily. I think the problem is Mill's reputation does have something about them though, but like not in the sense of I don't believe there's someone paying off so Mill don't get promoted, but I think there's this like a stigmatism. Is that the word? Before people come to the den, where they're like they're going to be on my case. I need to ignore it. I need to like that. They want to try and not cave into the crowd and so they kind of just make these odd decisions. There's a lot of like baffling decisions where, last week there was corners given as goal kicks and goal kicks given as throw-ins. Like we're just getting some really poor all round. Like you can let the odd decisions slide, I think, but I think the standard is probably the worst I've seen it in a long time. I don't think there's any specific bias, but I think people like the rest. They have this sort of feeling when they turn up to the game that they want to be in control. They want to be the big man on the pitch, and they want to be in control. And I think that's not helping the situation. Whereas if it was, if they sort of turn up to them as any other match, it might be a little bit more balanced. But yeah.
Okay. I mean, Mikey, crippled with injuries now. What are we up to 10? All midfielders as well. How does that happen in your view, where you have the
Yeah.
same area in the pitch all out at the same time?
Yes, we've got
Never
9
heard that.
centre mids in the club going down to the under 21s, and all 9 are injured now. We played with a left back in Doughty, or left back, left winger in Doughty in the centre. And then we had Negley, our largest ever signing, right winger, Cam, in centre mid. To be honest, it's kind of one of those. I think it's just the change in style largely, although it's quite a new group. So I'm surprised. It's quite a young group as well. But I think the problem is it's a snowball effect. When you got the likes of, so like Casper and Billy are probably our starting two. I would, if everyone was fit and injured, but then all of a sudden one picks up an injury, they miss a game, so then someone else comes in, and then they got to play 2 or 3 games in a week. They get injured, and then like it's just, but no one can seem to get back. And then once Billy's back from injury, he gets thrown straight in because he's the best of some of the younger lads we got that haven't really had any real experience other than under 21s and maybe the odd lower league sort of loan spell or something. And then they're kind of brought back in too quickly as well, and it's recurring injuries and we can't seem to stay fit. I think it's the higher press. I think we're still one of the highest in the table for how high we press and how high we win the ball up the pitch. And I think that sort of pressing is just kind of almost like Ange, I suppose, in the Premier League, where it's kind of as soon as the ball's in play, everyone pushes up and everyone's trying to win the ball at the first contact. And then, if it goes past you, you're tracking back. And, I think fitness plays a big part in it. And yeah, I just don't think we got that balance yet of being able to get people back and then not overwork them when they are back before doubling down.
Yeah, and just highlights Femi Aziz's stupidity with that red card.
I think so. I think his frustration for the most part. I think that we played Derby in the week, and I think there was a few decisions then that didn't go away that could have on another day. We didn't particularly. I didn't think we were too great then. It was a scrappy game, and if we had come away with 3 points, that would have been. I'd have been well happy with that. But I think it's just pent up frustration. I think it's when we was on top of those sort of first 3 or 4 minutes, you kind of thinking just one chance go in, and Hull was susceptible to. They don't just concede one really normally, and you kind of think that's the option. But then I think Gavin Ward probably just he just got fed up with the refereeing, and to be honest, I think that's the other part of it where it shows that he didn't have control over the game is if you actually watch it for about 10 seconds before that I can't think of his name now. Is it Joseph?
Carl Joseph,
yeah. He was holding on to him. Like Aziz was trying to get up, and at no point did the linesman or the ref like that's a free kick then. That should be a free kick in Millwall's direction. But then he never gave it for like he literally didn't give it even after it all happened. So they can see him like holding him back and holding him to the ground. That should be a free kick there. And I think that sort of French frustration just sort of it just adds up. And it was stupid, a bit naive, and the only blessing I kind of think is he's just come back from injury as it is. Maybe he can get a bit fitter and do some time in the gym to be match fit come January. But yeah, he's got a nice long Christmas off.
Yeah, definitely has. Right, it's Blackburn Rovers then this weekend. Not the scene of many happy times for Millwall, but they're in a bit of a bad run, and we were just speaking to their fans on their podcast who was saying that they're candidates for relegation potentially this season. Now, can you mark this as a game for 3 points? Then, do you when you look at a team that's spiraling like Rovers are?
Yeah, possibly. I think the problem is without. I'd say I'm quite an optimistic pessimist. I still felt confident going into Derby that we would get something there, which we managed to get a point. But I think on any day, if our squad is fit, I think we could beat anyone in the league. Bar maybe Coventry when they're in top form. They did play well when we played them. But I think anyone's beatable. But the problem is we just don't have a consistent enough squad really at the minute. I think that's the bit that's going to bite us is if on paper you kind of go, it's the perfect time to play Blackburn. On the other hand, they're probably thinking this is the perfect time to play Millwall. When you got, what is it, 15, 16 of your starting sort of 25 squad pretty much injured, you're threadbare at that moment. So I think it's a good enough time to play them. It'll be nice to pick up another 3 points. I think keeping it's so tight the table. It only takes 3, 4, 5 losses, and all of a sudden you're in that bottom half of the table. But I think if we can sort of manage to pick up the 3 points at the weekend, you kind of got that feel good factor going into Christmas. And it's not long before reinforcements can be added as well. It sort of really takes a little bit of that pressure off of maybe a couple of loans coming in or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll be chatting about that next week then. We've already spoken to you about pulling Burnley out of the draw for the Cup. It's not been chosen for television. Does that surprise you? 3 o'clock on a Saturday?
No, I don't think I'll turn in. No, it'll be good. I'm sure Zian will play against us, won't he? I'm sure he'll get some minutes and probably a score. But I think it's one of those. I think I understand they're playing for their Premier League survival, but I think they'll probably want a cup run and see it as a winnable game, Burnley. And I think for us, I can't see any world where I think it would just be damage limitation. What's the most defensive squad we can put out that you're not putting key players, and then keep it tight and maybe go for it in the last 10 minutes type thing. Then than want a 90-minute battle and contest. It's it's by the by that I don't mind letting that one go this year.
Right, we asked our Burnley fans about it, and it was like we couldn't care less. Just said, just let Millwall go through. They were like, we just
both trying to wave the flag,
stay in the league. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. 2 teams that would rather get knocked out than progress. Wow, there we go. Right now, lots of penalties have been missed in the Championship so far this season, so it's got us thinking about, Mike, if I took your house and your keys off you to your car and said, right, you can have them back, but you've got to pick one player from Millwall past or present to score a penalty.
We don't get many penalties. That's the problem. Do you know what? I think it's quite hard. I think the only one I would probably go to, and obviously I don't, my history on Millwall is obviously a lot more recent, so maybe I'm forgetting someone, from the 80s or 90s or before. But I'd probably say Harris was probably the best goal scorer I've seen in that sort of time. I don't know specifically, to be honest, the stats on who statistically is the best penalty take we ever had. Do you know what? Steve Morrison was a brilliant finisher, but I can't remember particularly many penalties that sort of stick out in my mind. But then I think you just go with your trusted gut, the top goal scorer, and I know he's missed a 1 or 2 as well that I've seen live in person.
Who would it be from the current squad?
From the current squad? Oh, good question. Probably would be. God, that's quite tough, actually. Ivanovic has got a good penalty on him. When he scored that late winner against Stoke last year in the 96th minute or something, that was a blinding penalty. That was That was really good. Certainly wouldn't be Kramer. Tristan Kramer even. That one at Palace was shocking. Yeah, I'll probably say Ivanovic. I'll go Ivanovic from that
Right.
current crop.
Let us know in the comments, please, as you always do, as you're very good at this, who in your lifetime would be the number one person if you had to put your house on it on the line to win that back. Wonderful. Right. So we're up to A to Z time. Okay, now we're definitely up to I, and we're going to do J as well, because it's a little bit tough I, so we might need some help on this one. Have you got any I's for us?
Yeah, easy one for me. It was actually my favourite player around sort of 2004, and Paul Eiffel.
Oh, of
He
course.
was absolute.
Oh, yeah, the legend that
I
is.
was fascinated with him when I had my sort of first season ticket. He was a key figure in the team at that point, and he was brilliant. He's my youngest sort of memory. Is the like the Mother's Day massacre where we beat West Ham 4-1. I remember going to watch that with my dad and my brothers. That was that was a brilliant game. And he got the assist, I think, for Christian Daly as well in that game. Funnily enough, when he scored his own goal. One of the four, I think, he's had at the Den. But yeah, no, Paul Eiffel for me is a key figure. I thought he was brilliant whenever I saw him. He was kind of one of those sort of exciting, get you off your seat type players. And I just remember weird things. I remember him shuffling the ball out one time, and he's an easy figure for me for the letter I, to be honest.
Yeah, he's coaching now, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's in
the A League
New
or something like that.
Zealand.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah. Super. Right, Paul Ifill, if you're watching, you're in the A to Z of Millwall. Jay then?
Jay was actually a hard one, so I'll admit I
Right.
tried to cheat on this one and tried to have a
Right.
look. There's a few players,
Okay.
because the only one I actually thought of was Lucas Jensen, the current. Well, he was the number one before this
He was the
season before he got
goalkeeper,
injured. There is a few players on the list, but much before my time, sort of from the 50s and 60s. If anyone listening's got a good one, then yeah, do share it. But unfortunately, I'm too new school. It doesn't seem like there's pretty much anyone in the last decade other than Lucas Jensen.
Right, he's not a bad person.
No, brilliant before he got injured. I think he would have been a big key figure had he stayed fit. I think we would have made playoffs. I think there was a couple of games. And I think he's going to struggle to get his place back now a little bit until we have some injuries. But he's back to fitness now. He's played a couple of under-21s games, so you never know. Maybe in the new year.
Excellent. Right, Jensen goes in as well. Right, Kay next week then, so join us for that. And of course, our last one before the Christmas holidays are on us as well. Good luck at Ewood Park. We'll catch up with you next week, Mike. Hopefully, get well, Charlie, as well, if he's watching this, who's ill this week as well. Massively appreciate your company, Mike. Thank you for watching as well. We'll see you next week after Blackburn. Have a good one.